I'm Deanna Sidoti, a yoga for back care and scoliosis specialist, and in this video we'll be exploring how to pad your concavities and also how to pad your curves. So both are great for different reasons, and what you'll need are a few washcloths. I have 4 here. Usually I use 3. Some people like 5, some people like 2. It really depends. And the way that we'll fold the washcloths are in a square and then in a triangle. So do that for at least, let's just say for today, 3 washcloths. Triangle. So you start in a square, fold it in a triangle. So I have 3 triangles right here. You'll also need a chair. If you want, you can cover this with a blanket. And you may also like a blanket under your head and neck, but I'm gonna do it without today. So I have a left thoracolumbar curve and a high right thoracic curve. So when I'm padding my concavities, my concavity is across the spine on the same floor. So my lumbar concavity is my right side, and my thoracic concavity is my left side. So when I'm padding my lumbar concavity, I'm going to take the point of the triangle in towards the curve and have that just kind of on my concavity area when I lay on my back, so that I can feel and sense what we call the sleeping side. The concavity tends to have less awareness. Sometimes the nerves are less awake. And when you feel both sides of your back, you may feel the curved side more full and the concavity side more concave. So the curved side is the convex side and the concavity side is the concave side. When I pad my thoracic concavity, same thing. Now my thoracic curve is mild, so sometimes I don't pad that one. So if you have a more dominant curve and you only want to pad the concavity side of that curve and concavity, you can feel free to do that. So when I pad, I'm putting the point of the triangle in towards that side. So I'm going to show how to pad the concavities right now, and then in a moment I'll show how to pad the curves. When I pad the concavities, it helps to bring more awareness, as I said, to those areas. When I pad the curves, it helps to de-rotate, which is more of an active shavasana. It's not as restful, but it's also really wonderful because it de-rotates you and helps to shift a habitual pattern of the curves and start to create a new pattern. So both are great, but again, for different reasons. So I'm sitting at the edge of my mat. My legs are off of the edge. I call this a mermaid, and I'm really close to my chair, so that when I roll to my side along the edge of the mat, I wait till my side is stable on the ground. I don't have to lift my head up. I can just roll onto my back, and then I don't have to do a whole lot of movement to maneuver here. If you have a lumbar herniation, I'm going to tell you today to roll up 2 washcloths, lift your hips, and then you'll put the roll under your lumbar. Okay? But for scoliosis, now you'll pad your concavities if you know where they are. So you'll just pad a little bit and sense, can I feel the pad? I'm not trying to push my concavity up to the sky. I'm just trying to relax the concavity into the feeling of the pad. Okay, and that's why for my thoracic concavity, I usually don't pad it because it's pretty mild. So I'm going to pad it for a second, and then I'm just going to take it out. But if you have an S curve, I would choose to pad both concavities. And then give yourself at least 5 minutes here. And you can do that on your own, just breathing and sensing. And let there be nothing that you have to do, but just notice the changing sensations in your body as you're breathing through the nose, unless there's a sinus thing going on. If your chin is moving towards the ceiling, bring the chin down or put a blanket under your head and neck. Check that your knee crease is all the way at the chair edge, and if your feet are up off the edge of the chair, turn the chair around so the shorter edge is closer to you. Breathe into the pads, starting with 5 deep breaths. Sensing those areas, relax the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And as I mentioned, you can stay there for at least 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Now, if you're going to try patting your curves, I'm going to grab my curve side with my hand and turn my belly button to the right a little bit. And then pad my curve side. And for this, I can use 1 or 2 pads or 3. And then I'm going to grab my thoracic curve side and turn my chest a little bit to the left, so that this pad is kind of wedging under my rib cage and helping me derotate. So if you don't like the feeling of the triangle, sometimes I like to make it a rectangle. So I fold the square in half the long way, or just fold the square in half. And then let the chin relax. And it may not feel as restful, but it is great. So you can be there for at least 5-10 minutes. Start with 5 deep breaths. And just be aware of your awareness, noticing the changing sensations. I highly recommend you stay here. If you're coming out, you can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and then roll to one side. Rest your cheek on your arm or your blanket. And then come on up to sit on your blanket, your block, or your chair. And have a moment to sense and observe your direct experience without judgment, with curiosity. I'm happy to support you in your yoga and wellness journey. Please feel free to reach out and let me know if you have any questions. Namaste.